Hello, thank you for watching this. If you are, I ask for your prayers, your continued prayers for the ones who've been praying for me. Thank you in Jesus' name. I am still waiting on my miracle. Um, I am following up. This is a follow-up video. I didn't. I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna try to. I can't really be long. I don't have that kind of time to be long or extensive into what has occurred in detail as I would like. So if I do skip about, please forgive me. But I felt since this may end up being my last video here at this location, um, it was probably necessary for me to finish up in some form and to give my honest opinion about what's happening and what's going on. And click at the bottom of the. This should be connected because this is a Facebook Live that I'm doing, but because Facebook, for some reason, the videos will only keep it for 30 days, so I kind of transfer it over to the YouTube, so it'll stay longer and everything. So click on the description. If you see the description, there's a description. It should be a link to the actual page. I have a page that I've been doing for a long time. It can be found SOS Congresswoman SheilaCM.com. It should be, but it had not been able for some reason. Like you do SOS Congresswoman SheilaCM.com. Same thing for SOS Congressman Hastings.com too as well. That's still active, but this has been going on since that long. .com and for some reason those weren't working, so I had to keep it to a direct Wix. You would see the direct Wix link underneath it, underneath the YouTube description. I'm gonna attempt to do that. But if you happen to go to that and you find it through what I'm telling you now, the SOS Congresswoman Sheila CM.com or SOS Congressman Hastings.com, click on it should say a link, illegal eviction. And so that's the update. I had to update it. I removed something off of it because it was back last year and I didn't remember to update it until just recently. And then when I updated it, basically what happened was I filed for a motion for a rehearing. And I forgot to put that motion on top of that because I was sidetracked with a motion from the opposite party to strike the rehearing. And so then I had to write a response to the motion striking the rehearing. And so what you would see is the response of the motion to strike the rehearing, which it still would give a broad detailed basis off of what my motion was about. And then you can still find that stuff online if you'd like to as well be directly on the Broward County Courts system. But that's just something I wanted to do. But to go into it, it was decided against me. I did not decided against me as in that was the 23rd and the 24th around 1:25 p.m. Because right now the time is 1:06 a.m. in the morning, April the 25th, 1:06 a.m. in the morning. That's what time it is right now. I'm doing this right now because, again, this may be my last video at this location. There was an eviction that was posted on the front door of the house. For some reason, it wasn't posted on my room door. And then for some reason, the Broward Sheriff's Civil Division officer did not knock, or maybe but they didn't do it. So I wasn't even, had I not gone out there, which I normally don't like that for some reason, I would have never seen it. I would have never seen it. So I don't know why the person didn't knock. And it's a 24-hour notice of eviction. It's basically stating, I was under the understanding because of my, and I'll get into what happened because of the business that I have here. at least I was trying to ask someone, because they never put the business on the claim. The business is a separate entity. The business is included in the rental agreement, and that was not on the claim. But getting on the eviction sticker on it, it's appearing to be where, when they return, you are subject to an arrest because of trespassing, not even subject to be removed, or it doesn't even seem like there's a chance to talk. Like there's talking moments or anything in that. And although I did give a call to the Broward sheriffs, but they were referring me to the city of Fort Lauderdale, which is very confusing for me, since the city of Fort Lauderdale does not do the removal, and the city of Fort Lauderdale has not done removals from county evictions or any city. So how would they be able to answer the question about my business? And I've been receiving multiple answers of it, that my business is a separate entity. My business would have had to be included on the complaint for there to be a full eviction. And then there's a reason why I'm getting to that. The complaint itself, all of it is just based on my experience and everything I've been dealing with personally. Yes, it's just retaliation. Retaliation due to a racial discrimination claim that is connected to the suspected death and what I've always called murder at Broward Health. It was a question mark behind it because of the severity of it. It was beyond malpractice and all that kind of stuff. That it's way past that. For those who followed it, you would know it. And it was, maybe I just said it, but it was described as a violation of a Section 901 violation. And that was in the claim. So this is a retaliation based on racial discrimination claim that I've made, and it was against it. It is against Broward Health. I have been trying to get back to that moment to include those particular agencies. They don't want me to get to that point. So this eviction claim, I filed my claim first, based off of illegal eviction and what was happening. Next thing you know, I filed a motion to enforce the rental agreement within 3 days, approximately 3 days, on the 27th of around approximately 22nd of January. There was a motion to, no, not even motion. I didn't even get a notice. I just clicked the link because I was trying to figure out when it was going to activate. They was going to serve, my landlord / mother, who was also a party to be added on the federal claim. It has been included in the complaint before anyway too as well, which is the whole connection to the retaliation of racial discrimination. That includes her as well, although the judge disagreed with it. The Broward judge disagreed with it. Getting back to that, it's just her denying it. It came as a complaint, eviction complaint. This case came in as an eviction complaint. Okay, you fill it out as a landlord. Once you fill it out, you have to say why you're evicting the person. Okay, you check the box. The box was checked that the complaint was, no, the box was checked that the person's, that my rental agreement was expired. Okay, and so it said the rental agreement was November the 25th. No, November, and I'm approximately 22nd, 2025. I know the year, 2025. So she did it in January, saying that, he's past expired. He should have been left a long time ago, but he just never left the house. Okay. That's on you have the summons that's served. After the summons, you see the complaint from the landlord, the reason why the landlord is telling you, is evicting you. And then the notice that the person should have received beforehand that they did not adhere to. I think that's what they call it. The notice. There's some kind of notice basically saying, okay, look, your lease was expired. It's time for you to get out. And you hadn't done it yet. So I never received that because I would have responded to it like I responded to 4 other notices. One was about the car flat tire. One was about something about recording or something. The second one is about that I was a at-will applicant. At-will occupant. At-will occupant meaning that there was no rental agreement. I responded to that. I responded to all of them. I never got that one, nor would I've ever gotten it because the rental agreement expires in 2029. Getting past all of this is that for some reason the judge has gone around everything else. I can see if the foundation of the entire case lays upon you have the complaint, summons, the complaint, and then the notice. Okay. The complaint, the whole reason the judge didn't ask, ma'am, okay, because she just felt she disagreed that it was fraud because somebody fraudulently manipulated the date and changed it. That was fraud to the court. Okay, I can respect if the judge disagreed with me and then asked her to refile that with the correct expiration date and let's deal with the rental agreement as is. That's respected. I may disagree with it, but I respect that. I can focus on that fact better that, okay, we're dealing with the truth of what she wants and how whatever it is, we're dealing with the truth of it, but we're not off a foundation of he has an expired rental agreement. The case was decided on me having a expired rental agreement and the rental agreement isn't expired. I'm not getting it. So yeah, no, retaliation on racial, there's no other, there's no other excuse. There's no other reason. I'm sitting here now. I was so focused. I'm off guard because I was so focused on, I'm not getting, it's not making sense. I'm like, okay, maybe because sometimes there's forms of retaliation where he just has to keep going and then, we'll flip it over, okay. So, let's go through the loops and hurdles. Okay. Let's appeal. Let's do this. What? Really? Y'all? Are y'all serious? I'm not prepared. Unexpected, not expecting it, still praying for my miracle, still believing in God. I really believe this is something that I needed to do and hang in there and stick in there. I do believe that other people, the thing with apartments and stuff and tenants and landlords and all that stuff, a lot of tenant roommate agreements, that's what it's coming into now these days. It's not going into the people buying homes and all that stuff. And the judge had her say. So let me get with this. I pray that you're able to read it because I need to move on. I wish I knew what time I started this because I don't want to keep y'all long on this. But I said retaliation. I have a small checklist. The retaliation based on racial discrimination. It's connected with my granny's death. Which has not been a secret. I'm not just saying this or flailing this off the well trying to make an excuse. No, it's been on the website. Everybody's been hearing me talk about it. All of a sudden there's this interruption that keeps happening that is distracting me from dealing with now the federal claim. And there has to be a connection. There happens to be a very valid connection to the disruption, where it's intentional. We get to this point, which is the other party that's supposed to be added on to the complaint that I'm now having to come to my defense. And in every way, I had an option. The judge said, Mr. Brewer, we can do a jury. I'm saying, no, we don't need a jury. I was saying, Your Honor, we got this contract right here. I got the original contract. I'm good. I'm Your Honor. And she said, oh, wow, this is original. Because I even made a mistake in giving her, answering that she can keep that. She said, well, you should, Mr. Brewer, because this is original. Oh, no, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. So we put the original in there, and which shows and asked, my mom, hey, did you, she recanted it later in this response, or the motion to strike my rehearing. She recanted it, made it seem as if I somehow, forged the agreement or something, and just. From February the 24th, she agreed to that was the original agreement. Then we're here now, and then it had to be re-understood. Because other than that, I would rather for charges to be y'all put me in cuffs or put her in cuffs. Somebody did fraud. But no, there is Terry's evicted, and that's it. Based on what we're talking about, the foundation of this is expired rental agreement. Still, it didn't change to where she had a right to do something, basically that the judge was saying. No, it's still checked as fraud, expired agreement. The agreement is not expired. So one of the other things that struck me in there, where I was denied the right to counsel, the judge denied me the right to counsel because I talked about a reasonable accommodation and talked about my disability, which I don't just speak out like that to people. And that I just don't. That's not something I do. I don't do that about my disability. I don't do that about my color. I'm the last one to talk about racial discrimination. Last one. Last. I just think sometimes I need to clarify that. I think sometimes that we just have a misunderstanding. That's all. Sometimes, it's not all the time. Sometimes we have a misunderstanding. The Civil War wasn't fought by all blacks and wasn't fought by all whites. If you understand what I mean. We all got to this point together. That's my personal belief. In the voting system. Yeah, we pushed in civil rights. But in those marches, whether there was one or two, you saw some folks in there. We didn't get here by, it's my personal belief, we didn't get here by ourselves. So, getting back to my point, the judge struck my response to counsel with the legal counsel saying that, oh no, you can do this for yourself. Well, if I'm telling you I hadn't, and I was bombarded by emergency motions for hearing because my mom puts on, Terry's putting nude pictures on me on the video and recording without my permission. Wait a minute, this is your home security camera that I installed for you. Nude pictures, where? And then when we get in front of the judge, this multiple stuff just goes on and on. Then we have two cases. They're not consolidated. They keep them, I think it was kept separate intentionally to keep me that busy and inundated where the judge just thinks that I had a valid time to seek counsel. I'm barely, are you serious? I'm trying to respond to this, barely responding and barely doing this. I'm saying, no, don't judge me off of what you think. If I'm saying that I did not, period. If I'm saying, judge, I've mentioned that I'm dealing with my disability. It is what it is. people have a right to make a reasonable accommodation and a request for that, and to say that that the judge, which maybe that's what she was mad about, because that's no. If I already said that, okay, judge, you have to bear with me. I'm dealing with a little disability as I'm trying to communicate. That was in one of the. It was very clear, and the judge did not want to have a proper understanding. Did not, judge, I'm much better at just explaining this down here. And just submit it. Okay, we can do that. But getting to this, so she denied the legal counsel. She said something about striking it from, I guess, my response or my request or something. So basically, it wasn't even considered. That's how I got it, in my opinion. Which is says I'm striking this from the motion, I guess. So it basically wasn't even considered a part of the motion because she struck it from the motion. If you strike it, that's how I got it. Somebody else legally may be able to correct me on that. Something else that happened. Basically, because I told her I stand to lose my clothes. I don't, anything with the storage, and because I've been doing the appeals, and I made it very known that I was going to be doing. That's your problem. You should have just gone out and done that instead of been focusing on this. Okay. But if we have a rightful appeal, why does that and I'm still looking at the actual complaint and this check that the expiration date. I'm one of those technical people where if something is checked, there's an expiration date. We're having a hearing on an expert saying that my rental agreement is expired. You have the original agreement, but we're still having a hearing on the expired. Her coming saying because it's expired, that's why. Because that's the complaint. The complaint never changed. The notice may have changed. She may have directed her to serve me with a different notice, but the complaint never changed. She never asked her to amend her complaint. So we are meeting on a complaint that still says expired. The rental agreement is not expired. Okay. So after telling her that that's my issue, then she was saying about, just go to Section 8, just let go and, you just be free of something about letting go and be free. It's more of this, the positive mindfulness, letting go of things. And after, no, Judge, this is a civil rights thing. No, this is not a civil rights. No, this is a civil rights thing. It's a civil rights thing. And at least I've made it that far, and I've made it very clear in the extensive thing. And, she kept referring it to as because someone is claiming you as a dependent or something like that. She kept doing that. That's not in the writing. It's not the claiming. It is the child tax credit that goes on a debit card, a MasterCard. You can use as you wish to use it. $6,900 I'm told to say up to $6,900 per month, except the month of December, which is very odd and unusual, which I said correlated with the assumption that there was some type of private settlement, that someone found me to be incompetent behind my back still, that I'm still yet not, because I'm still shown in the courts, in one of the court system, as a ward. I'm listed as a ward, not even a petitioner. They changed it that I'm now listed as a ward. And this was in Broward courts. This is underneath me filing a financial exploitation. That was new to me that I seen. Okay, why am I now listed as a ward? And another attorney also mentioned to me that, it says that they're still looking. I'm paraphrasing. I think they're still looking for my guardian or a guardian to be appointed, something like that. He says, but the case is closed. And I'm not saying his name because it's not that important, but it's not an imaginative person. And it is what it is. If it need be, that in court, okay, well, they've helped me out, with the with my church, Antioch. You know, so it's not that it shows that there's some type of guardianship that they're waiting to be appointed, but it's unusual. It's almost like one of those things where it's unusual. Like it was just an unusual thing, but it could have been one of those errors. And I don't want to. I think the reason why I didn't want to mention names because I really didn't want to not quote him correctly on that or it correctly where it's connected and it make it seem like, no, I'm not saying. If I do say it and when I say it or something I will say it. I've always said my stuff with everything and I'm not saying that yet. So, anyway, that she kept diverting from the taxes. She kept diverting. She was diverting from that taxes, didn't want to talk about those taxes. But wait a minute, she just brought up she did not charge me for a commercial, basically because I have my business here, and it's only a regular residential tenant, but then the taxes that shows that you can get collected on it's collected on the healthcare savings account, collected on a debit card. It's on a debit card now. It shows that there's an allocation for another person that's under 54. She's not under 54. I'm the only other person that's on there. And I'm named as a child tax credit, and the check for the family and not single on the healthcare savings account is checked. After claiming me as a dependent now. Because she kept cutting me off and she kept saying, oh, because you're a dependent, you have to deal with it. No, this is cash that's coming to somebody's hand on a debit card. On a master debit card, it's just like a Visa. Medical necessities can include housing. Medical necessities you can get a pedicure of medical necessities. That was my, motive for retaliation in connection with blah. Doesn't want to talk about it. I did say, if I haven't said it before, someone did tell me that there was, because the healthcare savings comes out of, technically it's supposed to come out of the person's check. So if it's not out of your check, but so much money, a lot amount of money is coming out of your, it's going into a savings account from where. And so when I asked the Vitas Healthcare, I'm like, look, and this person said, well, there can also be a third party contributor to the healthcare savings account. Well, that lines up with because adding all that up, I'm not saying her business how much it was a year. She's a year, but she wasn't even making that much a year to allocate certain funds for the healthcare savings account from the individual. So it had to be a third party contributor. Now, who don't want the third party contributor to be known? I have no idea. But I can say that, she was diverting from going into anything about the taxes. Let me going into it. It was almost like I just had a misunderstanding versus now I spelled it out all right when it comes to me writing it down because I just need a little time. Let me write it down. I start talking to you, it's not going to go well. But you want me to talk to you versus actually, let's read this out. Let me read this. Your Honor, if you don't mind, I would like to defer to all my writing because my disability, I can explain it much better. And it comes out to, especially, a lot of people don't like my pages because I write in detail only to say what I need to say. Anyway, she mentioned Section 8. Going back to Section 8, I waive my rights. Because you waive something, there's a waiver in that they tried to put me into before, and I didn't want to do that. I don't think that, she did not, in the filing, although I keep talking about the company, she did not decide about the company. There was no decision about the company. I think I may have mentioned that early in the recording. I also mentioned that they overwhelmed me with emergency motions, and I do feel that there was a two-part thing, and although, yeah, but I feel that way. There was, yeah. So I've always felt that someone's been either blackmailing her, or coaching her as in my mother, landlord, to do particular things, because it's well advanced, even the writing and certain things like that. She's been coached. That's not a secret. I've always said that. And that's it. And anytime I try to follow the money trail, I'm not, yeah, no, it's a big, turnaround, push off from that. And then I talked about the storage and stuff. And so basically she as in the judge, Betsy Benson, basically it was my fault, even about the storage and everything. Cause I should have been, well, if you went to your mom, yeah, just didn't work that well. And then it was supposed to be, even to the point, saying that my mom should go to women's in distress in this time frame until, everything is fine, because she doesn't want me to do anything. I've been on videotapes and talking about Jesus and the Lord and everything. I'm believing that some breakthrough is gonna happen. Not believing that my mind is gonna break. And neither have I shown that to anybody. And neither did my mother go to women in distress. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm done. I'm surprised I'm able to talk like this, because I literally have no place. I don't know where I have no plans. I did speak about this to someone else about plans before and stuff. I am the proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance person. And one who was in my choir, and I used to direct choir a long time ago. But I learned that from Brenda Brown, Harmony Plus at Dillard High School, Performing Arts. Proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. And that has always stuck in my mind and everything that I've done. Before I had meetings, I knew 100 avenues and ways that anything can go. This was not expected. If anybody can talk about me and tell you about, I will, and ask me for advice, I will tell you from beginning to ending. And this I did not expect. I don't know what's going to happen later in the hour. I want to say tomorrow. It's not tomorrow. It's today. It's today. It's today. So, I'm going to try to get some sleep, wake up, gather what I can, and try to make contact again with the officers to see what time frame I have. But I haven't received any good thing. I'm waiting on a miracle. Yeah, I'm waiting on a miracle. It's nowhere in the world. This should not be happening in these type of days. Not in these days. Not in these days. No. So there's something, I've given it the benefit of the doubt. I know it feels that there's something that I'm not being told, or something we're going around the bush about, or something there. And it's like, there's nothing else more for me to say besides the connection with me is I have been trying to get to this federal case. I talked about me being a guardian ad litem. I'm now considered inactive guardian ad litem. I talked about that. I talked about me at Sis Trunk Festival in 2023, with my picture and Judge showing that I was it was my appointment, that I was being appointed as guardian ad litem. I was explaining how I was guardian ad litem. It was important because I was talking about certain things that was already happening in the courts that was that I felt was blocking me from getting the necessary help that we needed at the time, because I think even my grandmother and I was part of it at one time. or she was included on those particular things. And within that weekend, somebody had to make an emergency call to a chief judge, who called Judge Gillespie, who called Cassandra Phillips by 8 o'clock in the morning. I could be exaggerating 5 missed phone calls, but I really don't think I'm exaggerating at 5 missed phone calls, to the point I knew I was very shocked to see, oh, this many calls. What's going on? It's one of those things where, something done happened. Like you can tell something happened, that many missed phone calls, and immediately I needed to take the picture down. I know Congresswoman Sheila Sherfus McCormick was out there that received one of those flyers. I know that City Commissioner Pamela Beasley Pittman or something. Forgive me if I'm getting your name wrong. I don't mean to do that, because I definitely want to get people's names right. I know Broward Health was out there, their mobile vehicle. I was very civil about everything. Very, very. I was taught how to talk. I was taught how to talk to folks. When you're in front of people and no, because you don't want to make no reason for somebody to say, well, he was just so, couldn't talk to him. That's the only thing people need to state, that they can't talk to you because of your actions. They just waiting on something about your actions, that they just can't talk to you. They couldn't talk to you. So everything I've always tried to do is do the total opposite and be just so nice to, what is the reason? Anyway, you all stay blessed. I pray that this come to light. And yeah, there are folks who are within the system. I've said that before. I'm praying that we don't have, regular civil people don't have whistles like y'all have whistles, and laws that y'all can easily blow. I say easily blow, but I don't think it's easy. I've learned one thing. I've learned is I've learned about thinking about yourself. So people have individual decisions to make, when it comes to, how far they're willing to go. But I tell you that race and that line is so prevalent since all of this, and me just going, it's all about underneath housing. If you read my story and remember some of the stuff, it may confuse you, but it's all on how you continue to enforce your rights. And if long enough, you'll start seeing a pattern of people distracting you, or certain things that's starting to occur now. Like, wait a minute, this is unusual. Well, how come why does my address keep changing to this? Why does that keep changing? Why does this keep going on? Why does that keep going on? Disruption. And you will not believe the disruption that it can cause you just to continue to do stuff, and people wanting you to let it go. I'm just one of these people that don't write it down if it's there, if it's not really there for me. If it's invisible, just one of these fake things, don't write down for me to use if I can't use the right and you want me to let go of that right. I'm just a technical person that, okay, wait a minute. Oh, it says I can do this. Oh, well. And then, people will say, don't really expect that. I've had wonderful people to tell me, don't really expect this to happen. They're not going to let this happen. This is for the housing, and for those who have followed it, you would understand it. And I apologize for those who haven't, and I'm just saying it, but it would be within that, the description, that link, you would be able to read some of that by clicking on the home page. And if you want, I don't know what else to do. I'm just really following. This is just trying to stay alive in some form or fashion. Trying to stay alive in some form or fashion. Y'all stay blessed. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and if you know the name Jesus, just say my name next to it, Terry. He already knows what I need. And again, thank you for listening. Stay blessed.